Hey guys, it's time for me to do probably something that a lot of other people have been doing, but that's what I wanted to give some reactions about some news that's come out from E3 so far yesterday and today. Really quick, I want to cover a couple of things that are probably important to somebody who might be watching this. First and foremost, if you haven't seen some of my earlier videos, in fact, one of my first videos, I talked about what 2014 held for me in terms of the gaming world. And I mentioned that I had absolutely no plans to get an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. The Wii U is one of those things that's kind of back here, and it may be in my future, especially due to something I'm going to mention here later in this video. But as far as the Xbone and the PS4, I don't have any plans to get them. So news on the games that are solely and exclusively for those it's pretty much under my radar, about as far under my radar as it can get. Except for a few things that I am going to mention, simply because I'm disappointed to find out that a few games are going to be exclusively on the new consoles that I would have liked to have played. Also, I'm not watching any of this footage, any of this coverage from E3 live as it's happening, for two reasons. One, I was at work both the last 2 days, so it's kind of hard to get in on any of this when I'm at work. Two, I don't really think the concept of sitting down for some company's presentation that's going to go for a half hour, an hour, 2 or 3 hours, and then talk about a bunch of stuff where only a few things that they cover may really interest me. So I wouldn't watch any of the videos, even on like replays. Rather, I get my information mainly from Facebook. There's quite a few pages that I like IGN and GameSpot, but a million other gaming related pages that throw out information left and right. Also from YouTube a little bit, from GameFAQs, which is basically affiliated with GameSpot, but IGN and GameSpot also. And in the N64 Forever forum that I'm a part of, we've all been throwing in pieces of information that we've picked up as it comes out, just stuff that's exciting us. So I am just getting I want to call it bullet points, but that's more like what I was trying to hit on for this video. But just the things that I like, if I'm reading through some stuff and they're talking about a game like The Order or whatever it's called, The Grid, I think that's that racing game. Any of those kind of games that are only for the next-gen consoles, I just flip on by it. If it's some silly-looking indie game, I just flip on by it. I'm only going to talk about right now, so far, the things that in the last 2 days they've mentioned that appeal to me, because they're on gaming consoles that I either own and will still buy games for, or they're games that I had hoped would still come to those consoles. So anyway, enough with the jibber-jabber. Let's get on to the first game. And the first game I want to talk about is Far Cry 4. Now, Far Cry 4 wasn't announced at E3. It was announced, I'd say, going on close to about a month ago. At least that was when I first heard about it. And I immediately went to Amazon. As soon as I was able to pre-order a copy, I did. And I'm very, very excited and eagerly awaiting that, because I loved Far Cry 3. I have great faith in what Ubisoft is doing with the Far Cry gaming series. This one looks like it's going to be really, really amazing, set in like a country in the Himalayas or something like that, near or around Tibet, something. Anyway, and the antagonist of the game is being voiced by Troy Baker, who is an amazing voice actor for gaming and anime and cartoons and whatnot. He did the voice for Joel in The Last of Us, the Booker DeWitt in Bioshock Infinite, the Joker in Arkham Origins, the most recent Batman game. Anyway, so that was just like a nice extra bonus to hear about that. But what they did show at E3, I haven't got to see the actual videos because The gameplay videos have been snagged on YouTube, copyright claims from Ubisoft, but somebody did take some of the screenshots and turn them into GIFs that I did watch, and that was pretty cool, seeing somebody like attach an explosive to a barrel, and then they kick the barrel off the edge of this platform, and it goes tumbling down, and then they detonate it when it gets close to some enemies. I saw another screenshot where I think a guy was shooting a rocket launcher at a Jeep, but at the same time this pissed off elephant came up and crashed into the side of the Jeep just as it explodes. It just looks like it's going to be crazy, frenetic action. It's another big open world style game. It's probably going to have all kinds of missions and side quests to do. But the most awesome part of it, in my opinion, was they mentioned that for the Sony versions of the game, PS3 and PS4, you can play multiplayer co-op, and you can play with friends who don't even own the game, as long as they own the same console, obviously. But I was like, well, that should be pretty sweet, because my little group of friends, they may not all want to buy this game, but the fact that they can play the game with me will benefit all of us. It gives me someone to play the game with, gives them a chance to try it out, and perhaps they will want to buy it afterwards. I don't know the logistics involved in doing something like that. I didn't even think about it. I was just giddy with excitement when I heard the news. But someone else that I worked with today said, I wonder how that works. Like, does your console act as the server? Basically like a server? Does it tax or drain your internet service any more so than normal playing? I don't know. I'll leave the logistics to the people who handle that kind of stuff. Hopefully it's not too good to be true, but I just want to play the game, and the chance to play with friends would be pretty awesome. So Far Cry 4, definitely, it's the one game this year that's coming out, the one game that's left on my list of wants that's coming out that I'm going to have to get day one. The next bit of news I want to talk about is GTA 5. And if anybody hadn't heard about this, or if anybody didn't know this was coming, it was confirmed yesterday that GTA 5 is coming to the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. The PC one has been, I think, the version clamored for the most. In a way, I guess I'm kind of curious as to why the PS4 and Xbox One are getting versions of it. It's a game that was made with the previous gen consoles in mind. So all I imagine they can do is just make it look a little nicer, maybe make it run a little smoother with better frames. But I mean, it looked great in my opinion on the PS3. But the PC version will be the exciting one, because PC games get subjected to the modding area of gaming. People will mod that game and do all kinds of cool stuff into it that you will never see on the consoles. I have no interest in buying it for the PC, because my PC is just not good enough for a game like that. It wouldn't run smooth. It wouldn't be an enjoyable experience, and I've got it for the consoles. That's good enough for me. But it's very cool that it's being released that way. Another release, remastering, if you will, is The Last of Us, which is getting released on the PS4 on July 29th of this year. GTA 5 is in the fall. Last of Us is July 29th. If I had a PS4 dropped in my lap mysteriously, would I buy a remaster of that? I think it's kind of like the remaster of Tomb Raider. I'm sure it looks awesome. I'm sure it's pretty cool. I don't think I'd spend full price on it. Maybe wait until it got cheap. But it's cool for those who may not have picked it up for the PS3. It'll give PS4 owners a chance. But, I mean, unless you didn't have a PS3, why would you end up buying a PS4? It does seem kind of silly unless you're young and this is like your first console. I don't know. That's nothing to really concern ourselves with. I do think it's cool, though, that it's getting a remastered release for the PS4 coming out in July. In other Naughty Dog news, Uncharted 4 will be getting released for the PS4. So that's just interesting news. The Uncharted series is one I haven't really played much, so I guess I don't have a lot of frame of reference for that. But Naughty Dog, I like to see Naughty Dog doing well. And another thing too about them releasing The Last of Us for the PS4, I think it adds more fuel to the fire that they're probably going to make a sequel, or at least they'll gauge the response to this, and factor that into the decision-making process of a sequel. Let's see, what else was I gonna mention? Seemed like I had something. Oh yeah, I did have something else I wanted to mention. Dead Island 2, which I guess I have to scratch my head a little bit, because they came out with Dead Island, and then they came out with Dead Island Riptide. I hate when gaming companies decide to release a full-blown version of a game, like a physical copy game, give it some sort of a tagline like that, and then come out with what they call a true sequel. If it's events that happened after the events of the first game, and it's in another full game, and it's not DLC, Riptide should have been considered Dead Island 2. But there's a Dead Island 2 coming out, and it's going to be PC, PS4, and Xbox One only. No previous gen consoles. Dying Light is getting on both of them, like all the consoles. But Dead Island 2 only on the newer ones. And Dying Light was not in the same world or whatever, but it's made by the same people, and it's the same concept except with parkour elements added into it. I think Mirror's Edge meets Dead Island. But at least Dead Island will continue on. I love the series. Glitchiness aside, I think it's pretty awesome. And the last thing I wanted to mention came from today's Nintendo stuff. And this is, unfortunately, I haven't seen very much to really comment about it, but the Zelda game for the Wii U was shown off. That's the game that could get me to buy a Wii U. That's the game that will probably cause me to buy a Wii U at some point in the future. I want the Wii U console to be a little cheaper than it is. I don't care so much about the prices of the games. You take the prices of the games. You pay what you feel they're worth, and Zelda's worth, the $60 price tag that it'll probably have. But the Wii U itself, I just would like to see it come down in price before I commit. But seeing information on the Zelda game and seeing, not a screenshot, but maybe some sort of an artistic depiction of the graphics. And I think it was Happy Console Gamer. I watched a video of his earlier today where he mentioned it a little bit. And he said he described it as kind of a cross between Toon Link, like Wind Waker Link, and the newer Link games. It's sort of in between the more realistic and the Toon Link. I would have liked to have seen him go hyper-realistic all the way. I would have liked to have seen I know it's the Wii U, and you could think of it kind of like along the lines of the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and not on par with the PS4 and Xbox One. But Skyrim was on the consoles. I would have liked to have seen a world that looked sort of like Skyrim. Not exactly like Skyrim, but graphically as realistic as that. And then with, Link and Zelda and the whole crew. Happy Console Gamer, he mentioned that this is kind of a big open world that you can go anywhere you want to, although he likened it more towards the original Zelda, which lets you go to the dungeons in whatever order and move around the map almost freely. I would rather compare it to newer games like a Skyrim or a Far Cry. But that's exciting news for me. I think the game sounds like the perfect Zelda game. And with the HD graphics, even if it's not approaching PS4 and Xbox One levels, just in high definition, it could be great. So I kind of wish they wouldn't have pushed any kind of cell shading / anime or animated styles to the graphics. But I still think it's going to be amazing. Though, like I said, that one artistic rendition of what it's supposed to look like looks really cool. It's once again, it's like I said in the video about Nintendo and Ubisoft. Mario Kart 8 has done really good for them. Zelda will do really good for them. Smash Brothers will probably do really good for them. I'm excited to see Nintendo doing pretty well. I'm not going to try to rate whose presentations were better, because as I said before, I haven't watched the whole. and I don't care so much about the newer stuff, so it wouldn't be fair for me to even try to rate it, but at least it sounds like Nintendo had a pretty good showing. It sounds like they all did. The fanboys of each console will say that theirs did better, but I think all around it sounds so far like everything's going pretty well, and we're only just starting on E3. Who knows what we're going to hear? I don't know how many days it is, but I know it's a few days at least, so there should be some pretty cool info coming out in the next few days, I hope. So anyway, I probably talked a little longer than I wanted to, but those were the things about E3 I wanted to react to now. Anybody out there who's seen anything, you want to add anything, any games that you're looking forward to, any games that maybe I should look forward to if you've heard that are coming to the PS3 and the 360. So yeah, leave any comments below if you'd like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.